the SM Media Podcast Network. Hi folks, and welcome to the latest episode of the Refs View right here on SM Media. I'm Scott McPike. It is always a delight to be your host as always. We're here again. We're back and we are ready to dissect another dramatic weekend. It was better than the first Old Firm game.
Wouldn't be hard.
That wasn't hard. We've got a full squad tonight. On his return from Lithuania, it is a pleasure to welcome Steve Conroy. Steve, how was Vilnius? That's the capital? I'm right in it. I've got that right.
No, we were in Kaunas. Vilnius is the capital. It's a beautiful place, but very weird. It's like Scotland in the 60s. Nothing opens till 11, and then after 6, you're lucky if there's anything open. Beautiful, but I wouldn't rush back. But football, bloody hell, I turn my back for 5 minutes and it all goes mental.
Yeah, Scotland in the 60s didn't have VAR, so I might go back to that. And it's a pleasure as always to welcome Des Roach.
How you doing, guys? Steve, my grandfather was Lithuanian.
Well, so was my mother-in-law's heritage, but we couldn't find anybody.
No, my grandfather was Alexander Slabakis.
Good name.
I would have probably got you a game with Hearts 15 years ago, just to mention I've been Lithuanian.
I was about to say, you know Vlad of that history, so I'm sure as soon as you arrived, there must have been a red dot flashing about your forehead somewhere.
We go back a while, me and Vlad.
Yes. Vladimir Romanov mention on the podcast. That's where we're at these days. But we're as well just getting straight into it. Obviously, big game on Sunday. Celtic 3, Rangers 1. Wasn't just a case. Des, I'll come to you first. Obviously, you were reporting on it live, and then wasn't just a case where what we hoped was it would be decided by the football. It was very much another example of a referee who has done this before. In this exact same stadium with these exact same two teams, he shouldn't be doing these games.
So, obviously, I was working for a media outlet. I was working for a Daily Record at the time, and I said prior to the match that the whole thing, Celtic and Rangers before the game have got new managers in charge because of the inconsistencies in the players' performances, and something had to change. And I used that reference to say that I was quite surprised that Nick Walsh had been appointed to the game because of his inconsistencies since the turn of the year. He used to be the sort of the blue-eyed boy and the poster boy for the SFA. Unfortunately, I think his halo has slanted a little bit since the turn of the year. And I finished it off by saying that I was hoping that the headlines today and the news and the hullabaloo around the game would be caused by the teams who were able to kick the ball and not the third team who were on the pitch. And unfortunately, the way things have transpired, it's not the teams on the pitch who we're talking about. We're actually unfortunately having to talk about the match officials and decisions that were given and not given.
Yeah, and we'll go through the kind of big calls during the kind of show, right? We'll go through them individually in a minute. So I just want to get Steve in just before we do that. Steve, obviously you didn't watch the game live as far as I'm aware, but
Nope.
When you came back and you saw this noise, were you in the least bit surprised?
Honest answer is no. Nick is one of a few. As Des said, Nick used to be he was the rising star, and we thought that we'd found a gem. But he now seems to be in the category we've talked about. The same people making the same mistakes, but getting the same big games. And Nick's one of them now. I don't know what's happened to Nick. But it's almost as if he really started to believe his own press. And I don't take any pleasure in that because I thought he was a great ref, but he's, as Des said, his halo's slipped. I don't know what we do with like Nick and some of his other colleagues, but he's certainly changed the past couple of seasons.
Right, we'll go through the four kind of big calls in terms of what we kind of thought. The first one I want to get your thoughts on is one that didn't really catch a lot of eyes until today, as we're recording this on Monday night. Derek Cornelius was shown a yellow card. Des, if you watch it slowed down and you actually watch it sped up and you watch it in normal time, I am a real advocate of studs up, you're running the risk. I can see a case for a red here.
Yeah, I can as well. At the time when I watched it, my first thought was, "Oh, that's a bit tasty." And then when I seen it, I've got to admit, I did think that he was right on the border of it. It was reckless. It was dangerous. So that's a yellow card tariff straight away. Reckless and dangerous is a yellow card. Is it serious foul play? Is it endangering the safety of an opponent? Is it violent conduct? I would think that Cornelius is extremely lucky to have got away with that, because he was off the ground, and as soon as you're off the ground and you're lunging in, studs, let's be honest, they're going to hurt you and they can do damage. So yes, I think he was a particularly fortunate at that moment in time, because I think that could easily have been a red card challenge. And sorry, I would say that should have been a red card challenge.
The thing with this as well, Steve, is though that he does win the ball. And again, this is where, and we'll touch on Willie in a minute, as I imagine we'll maybe spend a bit of time on how this reflects on him.
Sorry, so you quite rightly said that, yes, he won the ball, but it's the manner and how he won it.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If it does catch him, right, but it doesn't catch him as bad as he would if he didn't get the ball, is what I'm trying to say. If he doesn't get the ball, Steve, and goes through the man, it's a bad one.
It's a bad one. And the fact that he got the ball is incidental. He was the instant he launched, and I'm always putting these things in inverted commas, the minute he launched that challenge, and launch is used advisedly, he was totally out of control of what he was doing, because he was mid-air. You can't control anything when you're mid-air.
It's an erratic challenge.
Himself. Aye, he launched himself, and it was beyond reckless. It was beyond dangerous. It was serious foul play, because that was endangering the safety of an opponent. Not violent conduct, because he didn't punch anybody. He didn't boot anybody in the knees or above. But that was most certainly serious foul play. I've got absolutely no idea why that wasn't reviewed. No idea.
We'll come to that one.
Yeah, we'll probably say the same about every incident. Near enough every incident.
Yeah.
I want to just touch on the offside quickly. The one that was given, Celtic the ball in the net, obviously a calamity for Rangers at the back, and it leads to obviously Celtic scoring, but the goal was overturned due to an offside by Maeda. Des, it is literally a toenail. But
I wouldn't even say a toenail, it's the back of his foot, so he's got a protruding blister on his heel. To the naked eye, nobody could see that. In fact, to be perfectly honest, Hampden is probably the only ground that you're going to get that true vision on, because of the cameras that are used at it, and it being a national semi-final. But yes, the decision was correct, because we've seen the lines drawn. But if it was no VAR, if VAR wasn't available, then that's a goal standing, because nobody can pick that up.
No. Absolutely not.
Yep.
Right, we'll come to you, Steve, for the red card that was shown. It was Thello Asgard who was sent off. I think it was around about the 30-minute mark. This is an interesting one, because there's no malice in it. What he's trying to do is he's trying to bring the ball down. When he brings the ball down, he catches Ralston in the thigh. No complaints.
No complaints, but that's a very unfortunate choice of words you used, bringing the ball down. I don't think that Asgard knew he was there. You said earlier on there was umpteen defenders around him. Aye, fair enough. But he didn't know that Ralston was there. He certainly didn't have that in mind. No. He didn't mean that, but no question or debate that that's a red card. Aye. Red card, pure and simple.
Des, The referee has it out straight away.
So
He has it out straight away. He's made his call instantly. The problem I've got with this one is that we saw this earlier when we were talking about Chelsea and Fulham. Do you remember the one where the boy does the wee turn and then he catches him?
Yes.
This is different though because it's thigh high and he is running. That the way he brings his leg down or foot down, studs it up. You see the way it catches Ralston in his shorts and his thigh looks pretty bad. He catches him badly. And I've not heard a single person who's looking at it objectively saying that this isn't a red card.
Yep.
No, I'm looking at my notes here. I've got it 38 minutes, Asgard on Ralston, serious foul play, not intentional, but you can't tackle like that. Tick. I don't think for a minute that Asgard has realised what he's doing. He's just caught in the moment, trying to play football. He's made a really nice touch and got it round his Celtic opponent. As I've said, not intentional, but it's serious foul play, and where he's caught his opponent in the groin and the thigh. And to be fair, nobody from Rangers or anybody's calling it any different. So it's a red card, and the young man will learn from it, but totally unintentional.
Yeah, no, it's definitely no malice in it. It's one of those, you try to bring the ball down. I think he should be more aware. There's 4 Celtic players around him. But again, you can't really tell him to be more aware when he's trying to bring the ball down. It's just one of those where I think the player's unlucky. I think Ralston gets in right and that happens kind of thing. Obviously, Ralston doesn't want the thigh contact the way he does. But it's a good bit of defending from Ralston to stop Asgard getting the control of the ball.
Yeah.
I think. So, no doubts about that. To me, it's a red card.
None whatsoever. No, none
right,
at all.
Let's get into the one why everybody is listening. It's the Austin Trusty yellow card. Kicks Jack Butland in the head. Des, will come to you first. Why is this a yellow? Why is this given a yellow? Sorry. That's what I'm not going to ask, because I'm going to ask you what you think now. Why is Nick Walsh given this as a yellow card?
So without being in Nick Walsh's head and understanding what his thought process was at the time, I can only think that Nick thought it was reckless and dangerous, as we've already said, because that's the criteria for a yellow card. I'm not going to be an after timer. I'm not going to go back on what I said. My initial thought when I first seen it, I thought, oh yeah, yellow card. He stuck his foot out. Don't know how much contact was. To be fair, Butland never made a meal of it. Butland was actually, he got up. You could see him looking, thinking, what's going on?
Can I ask though? Just, and I'm not like criticising you or anything like that. Do you think that Butland has control of the ball at this point?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Butland had the ball in his hands. Right. So I'm just saying, from that initial first instinct, that first gut feeling I got. Bear in mind, I'm watching it on television. I'm not 18 yards from it.
Yeah.
So when I'm watching it, my first thought was, oh, that's a yellow card. That's a bit silly. Then, when we see it subsequently, straight away I went, that's a red card. Straight away I went, that's a red card. He's put his foot out there. He's made contact with the head. Butland's got the ball in his hands. He doesn't need to do it. So I then changed my mind. Right? But I'm man enough and adult.
Which you're allowed to do, yeah. Which you're allowed to do.
It's almost as if we were relying on VAR.
Right. So this is what I'm coming to. In my opinion, when you see that, if I'm VAR, so say Steve and I are working together, and if I've made that decision, I've got no doubt that Steve would be shouting down the pipe to me.
Absolutely.
Yes, I think you might want to have a look at it, and vice versa. I'd be saying the exact same to Steve, saying, Steve, you've given a caution. Don't restart play. Come and have a look. Because that's what VAR's there for. It's there for clearing obvious errors, and also the word that's been used recently, factual overturn.
Yeah.
Come and have a look. You don't need to take my advice. You do not need to. But I think it's worthy of review. And the fact that it wasn't, in my opinion, probably makes VAR, I wouldn't say complicit, it probably makes VAR worse than the referee at that point, because they're the guys who can sit, watch it on TV, see it stopped, rewound, paused, zoomed in, he's got contact with the guy's head. It's a red card.
But Steve, I'll bring you in just a second. But see what you're saying there, though, about have him over to have a look. Have him over to have a look. That doesn't mean that Nick Walsh automatically has to change his mind. We saw the night before. Don Robertson sticks to a decision that VAR tell him to go and look at, and rightly, in my opinion, as we'll get into.
Yeah.
That being said, Steve, I cannot believe he either books him or he either sends him off or lets that go to VAR. In my opinion, because what he can do is, and again, I'm being a bit cynical here, and go with me with it. If he sends him off, VAR can tell him he's wrong. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't do anything about it, and VAR don't do it, that's VAR's problem, because he can say he hasn't seen it. Now we can agree or disagree. By booking him, what he's saying, what he's automatically having to do when James Tavernier, for example, tells him, why have you only given that a yellow card? He then has to say to the Rangers captain, there wasn't enough excessive force. This is the same Nick Walsh has sent off a player and stuck to his decision back in February, I think it was, for a slap in the face that wouldn't hurt a fly. So where's the excessive force in that, and where's the excessive force here? That's not an excuse for him.
No, absolutely. We keep saying it. Refs can make mistakes, and see if you made isolated mistakes every now and again. We all did. That's no bother. But they're so repetitive just now with certain people that you can't allow that judgment. But VAR is worse. That they looked at that and didn't think that it was worthy of a review. Because I'm the same as Des. When I saw it, I thought, aye, that's a yellow. That's really stupid. Same, not realising that he'd caught him in the head. There is no the same as Asgard. I don't think that he intended to, and we'll use a Derek McInnes word. I don't think he intended to volley him in the head. But he stupidly kicked out in that kind of area. The goalie's head's going to be around about there. He kicked out, and exactly as you said, when Butland was in complete control of the ball. See if the ball had broken away from him and he was having a sliding tackle lunge to try and get it.
It can be seen as accidental. Yeah, it can see as accidental.
But that's not. There is no excuse for that. But the VAR is worse, because Des and I don't know what you think about it. Des and I are both saying, when we looked at that first, that was a yellow. But when you looked at it again, it was a red. It doesn't matter if he's cautioned him. VAR should have him over and say, I think you've made a mistake. You need to go and review that.
Steve, what I'm thinking as well, and sorry, we don't have friends at the SFA, so I'm going to...
Not after today, we won't, I'll assure you.
Long before today, Scott, long before today. But it's not one VAR, it's two. It's Stephen and Andrew. So therefore there's three ex-category 1, 2 current category 1, and 1 ex-category 1, and 1 UEFA or FIFA VAR who's going to Juventus Sporting Lisbon during the week, all agreeing that that's not a red card. That, to me, is surely at least one of them must have the
they must have, yeah.
But see, and again, I'm going to say this word a lot, consistency. See if Willie Collum and the SFA were consistent. Why have they not got a statement out literally minutes after that? Because they did it against the Command Celtic game. They thought it was ridiculous. They did it with the Raskin game at the end of the season, where everybody thought that was ridiculous. This is where, why is there no statement today? Like, that's the bit I don't get.
It might be in Lithuania. He's not got a signal.
But it's incredible to me that, again, I clearly defer to you guys on this, right? Because you clearly know a lot more about the rules than I do. I'm looking at this at that time live, watching it, maybe more emotional than I was watching it back this morning. And I looked at it and thought, I didn't say it was deliberate. I didn't think Austin Trusty thought, I'm going to do him in the face.
No.
What I thought is that Butland's got the ball controlled, and Trusty can bring himself down without hitting him in the head. That's my view.
It looked to me as if Trusty had a second thought about it and then had a go. See, if he had just done what he was doing, he was past Butland. There was nothing in it. But the same as we said with Asgard, we don't think that there was any intention to hurt him. But both of them were endangering the safety of an opponent. He kicked him in the head.
Yes,
but I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this, right. And again, I'm being very cynical here. See if I was to do that in the street, exactly what happened there. Excessive force doesn't matter. You get done.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Like, excessive force is an irrelevance here because, in my opinion, like, we're talking about Asgard and Cornelius endangering their safety of an opponent. You don't want studs in the top of your head. That's endangering an opponent.
Yep, agreed. Absolutely. But I just cannot see why somebody didn't ask him to go and have a look at that.
Yeah.
That beggars belief. And fine, we all know fine that the SFA will be in close discussion with everybody just now to come up with some combination of words that are going to try and get them out of that. Because Nick's one of the ones that they will try and defend. There is no wording that is going to get away from the fact that Trusty kicked him in the head.
Well, but if Wally comes out and says in his VAR review that apparently is the only time he's going to address this, if he comes out and says, "Oh, we'll learn from this," right? So if that happens again, for example, is Nick Walsh going to make a different decision because he's been told to by Willie Collum? What's changed? What has changed? Surely the rule.
I'll come in here, and again, I think I'll be getting hate mail for the SFA. Well, no, they don't know my address, thankfully now. So, Willie always speaks about on his, as we call it, Willie Vision, about how they use these things as coaching material, and he is constantly coaching his referees. Now, Willie's been in position since probably May 2024, so we're probably best.
Yeah, 18 months. Yeah, 18 months.
Yeah. So his words were how he's going to be more open, and he has been. Let's be honest, he has been. He's been more public facing than most.
Transparent's the big word he's used.
Yeah. So let's be transparent here, Willie. You keep talking about coaching and educating and working to get better. I'm sorry, but I'm seeing standards slipping, and the only thing that I can take from this is that Willie's not a very good coach, or Willie as a manager is employing coaches who work for him who are not very good coaches, because things are getting worse. They're not getting better.
We still have no idea what this Atkinson character does. We've never seen hiding her hair off.
On that one, Willie, right? But if Willie's
the VAR manager Atkinson,
yeah, but if Willie's coming out and saying every single week we'll learn from this, If Martin O'Neill or Danny Rule send out a big player every single week and they constantly make mistakes on big occasions, they're the ones that carry the can.
Aye. Yep.
Okay. Well, there's football managers been sacked for less than Willie Collum. Now, he won't get sacked because he's too in with the bricks. We get that. But Willie Collum is not... Willie Collum at this moment, there's a serious case to answer. If somebody went into the SFA with any sort of brain and any sort of simplicity to look at this, the first decision I'd be making in refereeing going, he's not doing enough. He's not doing his job. He's not coaching these referees. The referees that are bringing through are not good enough. The referees he's sticking by are constantly making big calls and big decisions wrong in big games, and they continue to get them. That's on Willie Collum. The same way when Rangers players were playing badly, it was on Russell Martin. When Celtic players were underperforming, it was on Brendan Rodgers. It's exactly the same here. And the only way that he's escaping criticism is because he's untouchable because of who his pals are above him in the SFA. And I'm not hiding from it. I'm going to say it publicly. That's the only reason Willie Collum's in his job.
Yeah, he is untouchable. He's absolutely untouchable. And I think we said on here before, it was maybe when the other guy was in Moss, saying that's a barrier, that's a shield for Willie. There's somebody between him and criticism. But He's been there for 18 months. The same mistakes are being made by the same refs in all the big games, and they continue to get games. So there's only a couple of scenarios in that. Either they are completely rebellious, and referees are not the rebellious sort. They're all having a meeting and saying it doesn't matter what the old man said, this is what we're going to do. So they're either having that discussion, or, in my opinion, they are continuing to do exactly as they are instructed by the SFA. There can't be any other conclusions from that. If you or I, Des, at our work, every week made the same cock-ups, despite our managers telling us to do otherwise, but we still did it, we'd be fired.
Yeah.
We would not be in that job. And he continues to appoint the same people to all the same games, and the same mistakes keep getting made.
But that's what I'm going to bring out. And I hate using the C word, because it has been going about. And again, I think the three of us subscribe to the fact that that's not the case. There's no conspiracy. What it is, though, is it's incompetence, and it's burying the head in the sand. Because on Tuesday, when this was announced that this was going to be the referees' team, you saw on social media a lot of people going that they're not there on merit. They're there because somebody wants them there. And my thought was, and me and Des had when we recorded the pod, the first thing we said was, let's hope they just go out there and they're not the centre of attention, and they're not what we're talking about on Monday. And every single person who said that on Tuesday, that this was a dangerous appointment, this wasn't the right appointment for this position, we're talking here on Monday because they've not done their job right again. And I'm referring to Nick, because Nick did the Scottish Cup final 18 months ago, just before Willie got the job, and it was bad. It was horrendous at Hampden between these two teams then. So this is before Willie. Willie's not the exact blame here. Willie's allowed this to get worse because he's not come in with a neutral head and went, I'm going to fix this. He's allowed it to get worse. But the problem was before Willie Collum, because it's the same referee that had a bad game before that.
See, if you look at the guys who are making, and it's not, listen, people will think that we do this podcast and we do our Twitter just purely to have goes at Scottish referees. It's absolutely not. We want to back these guys.
We're the first to praise them if they do well. I think we're the first.
Yeah, but the guys who are getting the big games, the guys who are the experienced guys, are guys who were incumbent in that position prior to Willie getting the job.
Yes.
Now, Willie has brought in, I think it's probably about 4 or 5 new guys over the last season or two into the SPFL Premiership, which is great to see. But when it comes to the big games and the bigger semi-finals and finals, it's the experienced guys he relies upon to be the man in the middle, their 2 assistants, the VAR, the assistant VAR. These are the guys who keep making the same errors. And to me, I mean, what's the definition of insanity? Keep doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And there's one other guy that appears regularly under the same focus. And we've said many a time, it's not his fault. It's the people that are appointing him to think.
He was fourth official yesterday, so he can be really.
There you are.
Yeah, exactly. Again, why is he in that game? Why is he? He's not there in merit, because he's not got that game because he deserved it.
He's part of next team. I'm sure he goes away with Europe, and
I think he does. Yeah.
It's not like
team that's on Hearts midweek there.
Yeah, it's not like these. That game on Wednesday, Nick Walsh and Matthew McDermott, they got a horrendous. They made a horrendous decision.
It's not just us. You see it so, and everybody else's Twitter, anybody that you follow, it's all the same names that get mentioned.
Yeah, and again, I'm not going to come on here and say Rangers lost the game because the referee. Right, they didn't. Rangers weren't good enough to win the game. They didn't have the quality. What I will say is, though, is that if it's 10 each at half time, it might be a different game. I'm not saying Rangers would have won it, but Austin Trusty going off at half time, to me, is a massive call in the game that Nick gets wrong.
No.
And it changes the complex of the game, because in extra time Rangers are tired. Celtic grow into it, make the extra man count. But Des, why didn't Celtic get another Celtic player gets shown a red card because Rangers get a penalty through James Tavernier. Anthony Ralston is... What is he trying to do? Like, what? Why is he diving? Like, from a defensive point of view, not just looking at it from the referee's perspective, why is he diving like that?
I actually think it's a wee bit more complex than him just diving to block the ball. Now, let's be honest, he's going to try and block the ball. There's two facets for it to me. I think he was actually tripped up by Scales. I thought
that as well, actually. Yeah,
I thought he got tangled with Scales. And to give Anthony Nelson credit, you see defenders when it's a cross at a back, they put the hands behind them to make themselves smaller so the ball doesn't come out. To use Steve's phrase, if they just blutter the ball off him, they're potentially going to get a penalty. So I think Ralston, he's impeded by his own player and he's going down. I think he's actually tried to make himself smaller and being in a position where he can't be penalised for the ball hitting him. Again, I may get criticised for this. I don't think that should be given a penalty kick because he's actually tried to make him small. See if he turned his back, that's probably what he could have done. But you're talking in split seconds. If he's going down like that, turn his back, hit his back, nobody would be complaining. But see if he actually put his hands down to break his fall and the ball hit his arm, the penalty wouldn't be given.
Yeah.
Because under the IFAB laws is he's actually trying to break his fall. What he'd done, he was putting himself in jeopardy of actually hurting himself, breaking a rib or hitting his head against the floor. Looking at it, I don't think that was a penalty.
Steve, I'm kind of 50-50 on this because when you look at it, I watched it slowed down this morning. I watched this game back for my sins, and what I did was I slowed this game down, and there's a wee bit of when he goes down, his elbow sticks out, as if maybe Des is right, he is breaking his fall, but the way he sticks his elbow out, it does happen. That's unnatural.
So you're saying the ball hit him rather than him hitting the ball?
That's the problem, though. That's that again, though. This is my overall point. What is the guidelines here? How do we know? We don't know because Willie's never been able to explain it.
It doesn't. But intention was removed years ago from whether it was or isn't a foul, so it's irrelevant if he meant to touch that ball. I don't think for a second that there's anything involuntary in what Anthony Ralston did. He might have been tripped up a bit by Scales. He might even have tripped up with the Rangers forward at the time. He launched himself. That dive was deliberate. There wasn't anything unintentional about that. And if he were to trip and stumble, and we all know what it's like when you trip and stumble and put his arm out to break his fall, fair enough. But there was no fall there. That was an intentional dive. And he put his arm, we keep saying it, you run the risk. He put his arms out as part of that dive. I don't have any problem at all with the penalty being given.
So what the kind of final question on this for me, if that doesn't hit his arm, Des, is that going in?
Well, it's potentially going on target, yes, but you can't.
Is that why it's given?
Yes, I would say that.
Why is that not a yellow then?
Because the penalty is a sanction enough, because that was removed 2 years ago.
You've answered my question. Why is that a rule? Surely if that's denying a goal, that's a yellow. Why is this double jeopardy nonsense that Willie's just sticking to?
Because
we keep saying it sometimes. The law's an ass, but they have introduced that law, and that law is something, unfortunately, that we just need to stick to. I think it's nonsense, and it's the same. God knows what these people think of, the people in IFAB that make up this utter nonsense.
Are we in danger of making the game unfun or unenjoyable? That's what it is to me.
It's unfun, unenjoyable. It's unrefereeable.
Yeah,
taking things out that that you can say that maybe he did mean it, maybe he didn't mean it. Was it going towards goal? If it's going towards goal, then we're going to sanction it differently from if it's not. Keep it simple. It's as if these people want to introduce dubiety, because it's absolute dubiety.
Justifying jobs.
Absolutely. And I'm saying that I don't have a problem giving the penalty. That's in the modern era. But see, in the old days, when it was intentional or not, you don't give a penalty for that.
Steve, what has been our mantra for years? We use two words, and we have done it for long: deliberate and intentional.
Absolutely. It's the only way that there is any fairness. I was going to say freedom. There's the only way that there's any fairness in giving a handball. All of this nonsense about breaking his fall, making yourself big, unnatural. There's no more unnatural than doing that dive. It's all utter nonsense. And it's IFAB and the SFA trying to look clever when the laws of the game, FIFA always, they're part of their establishing mantra was that they're in charge of the laws of the game and they were to be as simple as possible. Leave them alone. Stop being stupid. Football is a simple game. Why are they trying to make it complicated?
Steve, who's, this is, we're going to laugh at it, who is one of the who's one of the members of the small committee who make the IFAB laws?
Would that be Mr. Collum?
Gosh.
There you go, though. That again, it's but overall than that, a good game. Actually was a good game of football. But as you say, I watched it with Laura, my partner, and she was calming me down a lot because I was the Trusty one in particular. I was like, I cannot believe he's not going to VAR for the simple reason that Don went to VAR the night before and stuck with his decision. See if he sticks to that decision. I'm not coming on here slating Nick Walsh, right? And people might find that insane, but I'd actually have more respect for him for sticking to that decision and then going to say it was excessive force. See this, though, of them not having any sort of guidance in their ear, and then he says immediately excessive force. That makes me think in that situation, that's what he's been told to believe.
Yeah.
So that's higher than Nick, that problem.
Can't argue.
But overall than that, Celtic are in the final. They will play St Mirren. Can I just talk about something here? But there wasn't a lot in this, right? It was a couple of decisions. Why Premier Sports didn't cover Self and Glory this week? Because they had Michael Stewart in both games. And in this game, is he trying to have another crack at political office? Because he seems to be on an anti-VAR campaign slogan. Because that's all he spoke about for 90 minutes. Was how much he hated VAR and how much he hated having VAR in his ear.
That's Michael Stewart, isn't it?
That's Michael Stewart. He's got his own audience. He's got his own agenda.
Why is he covering both of those games? Is that the best we have to offer?
Do you think he's looking for Willie to come and ask him to take over the VAR role?
Yeah, that's where I probably go to Lithuanian football and do a Lithuanian. I'll find 2 Lithuanian refs and do that. But St Mirren obviously with a better team. There's a couple of incidents here. The ball wasn't stopped to take a free kick, but VAR won't get involved. The corner leads to the goal. I think that's the first goal. That one is one, as Steve says, I love his saying about the law as an ass. VAR can't get involved in that, though.
No, they can't. But this is where VAR should get involved because it's there for factual errors. And the ball's moving, so why don't they get? Why are you going to all this expense and training, that coaching that Willie's giving them, and not use it to get things right? Now, that's just silly. So the ball was moving. Everybody could see it. Everyone could see it. When I was travelling at the weekend, so I never had the chance to watch it live at the time, but through you guys and through other people, I was getting messages. So that's factual. The ball was moving. It should have been stopped. It should have been brought back. So yeah, can't disagree with that.
And there was a possible foul in the build up to the fourth goal. Don doesn't give it. VAR tells him to overturn it, and Don sticks to his decision. And you were very vocal that you agreed with it, because I do as well.
Completely agree with it, and it's not through black and white specs. The ball is deflected back out. The Mandron goes out it makes no foul on the player. He's went to the ball. The Motherwell player has got his eyes focused on the ball. Mandaron's got his eyes focused on the ball. It's a coming together, no foul. And I was absolutely delighted to see that Don, and this is where VAR works. They've said, we think there's potentially something amiss here. I would like you to have a look at it. As should have happened with the Trusty one. Don's went across, very easily looked at it. No, I'm comfortable with my own decision. Game on. See if Don had went across and went, oh, you're right. Again, you can't complain because he's communicated and he's used a balanced view on it. But I was delighted for two reasons. One, I didn't think it was a foul. And two, Don had his courage to stick with his own decision and not try to be swayed by VAR. Unfortunately, Nick was never given that opportunity on two important occasions.
Steve, we'll go to Hearts 4-D now. Just a wee kind of mini rant I'm going to go on here, and I know you'll agree with me because I think we spoke about it. See if I was to be in Michael Stewart's position and running for political office, do you know what I would ban immediately? That's the first thing I would do. See if I was in charge of, see if I went into Downing Street tomorrow, ban this delayed flag nonsense. Because somebody is going to get seriously hurt.
Got you. And that one yesterday was just so glaring. Everybody knew. So what is the point? Because the defence...
Simon Murray, it's a Simon Murray one.
Aye, Simon Murray. He was miles off, in inverted commas. Everybody knew he was miles off, including Simon Murray. So, you know, the defenders could all have stopped. Simon Murray could have trotted up all on his own. The goalie could have laid down. He could have just booted the ball into the net. And it's disallowed anyway. What is the point? Because, you know, the result of that was never in any doubt, so fair enough. But if that's a highly contentious game, that's a minute to go in a cup final and somebody's looking for the equaliser, a defender's going to have a go at him to stop him getting to getting up to the goals. It's an utter nonsense. Bringing it back to keeping the law simple. He's miles offside. Call it.
Surely, though, VAR doesn't need a delayed flag. Surely we shouldn't be in that position. Because surely that's as simple as tomorrow, if Willie's in part of that committee going, do you know what we'll do? See, instead of this delayed flag that's going to get somebody hurt because they shouldn't be playing and they're going to get a serious injury, why do we not just have the flag and it stops? Because what difference is it going to make?
Yep.
Your assistant referee is just pointless there.
Yeah, and the assistant referee will feel just as stupid because everybody's lambasting him.
Yes.
He's doing exactly what he was told.
Exactly what he was told. Correct.
And he did it perfectly correctly according to what he'd been instructed. It's an utter nonsense. Now, you can almost see the point, again, bringing it back to some contentious, if it was a close run thing, and, you know, you can't tell one way or the other, you know, fair enough, crack on, see what happens in the fullness of time. But see when it's as blatant as that, just stop being stupid. It's an absolute nonsense. Nonsense. And again, they seem to forget that punters are the whole point of the game. Every punter in that ground knew what was happening, but you had to wait another 2 minutes. Yeah. It's, again, these idiots trying to make themselves look clever. It's a simple game.
There's Hearts 4-D now. There was a VAR check for the fourth goal. Do you know what it was for?
No.
Like, it lasted about. I spoke to somebody who was at the game last night. It lasted for 3 minutes.
Again, again, I'll refer to Steve. Steve's words are, VAR is there to come up with a fancy way to chop off goals and delay reactions, delay spontaneous fans. I really don't know. Absolutely don't know. They concluded the ball was over the goal line before the Finlay touch, and you're like, well, okay, fine. Everybody could see it. Everybody could see it. So what's the delay? And it was Kevin Clancy who was the referee.
Yes.
Kevin's an experienced guy. I've got no words for it.
Right, let's go to Libby 2, Hibs 2. No, we'll go to Falkirk 3, Kilmarnock 1 first. There was a Falkirk fast out the traps. Kilmarnock claw back second half. Kilmarnock did have a disallowed goal. There was ruled to be a foul by Robbie Dees on Scott Bain. VAR agrees with the ref. Des, the goalkeeper, is always getting the benefit of the doubt there.
Yeah, see, be fair, I've got my notes here. I'm looking at it. Kilmarnock goal, foul by Dees on the goalkeeper on Scott Bain. Yeah, I can take it. It was David Dickinson was the referee and John Beaton on VAR. Yeah, I can accept that. I thought that was a foul.
Right, this is another one that will get controversy, and I'm glad we've stayed it to the end. Right, there's a couple of incidents in the Livy 2 Hibs 2. There was a Livy disallowed goal that I think we're okay with, and the Livy penalty I think we're both fine with. Would you agree? Nothing contentious about it. Right, Hibs had a disallowed goal, and I've got I'll admit this was me on Twitter that caused this, because I was immediately.
We know it was.
Right. For anybody watching this who's looked at that and tried to argue with me, can somebody tell me, Steve? I'll let you tell me first, and try and see if you can get it up the picture while we're doing this. Can you tell me if the horizontal and vertical lines are in line with each other?
I can. No, right. We've had this discussion so many times that the technology that we have is totally useless. I couldn't see what the lines are meant to be. And there's a few things about that situation. First, the lino was in line with the third last defender. Mm-hmm. He wasn't in place. And it doesn't matter where. I don't know where on the anatomy of the players they put those lines, because I've written it down. You could not see where the legs were of the middle defender and the Hibs number 9. You couldn't see where they were in connection to each other. If that's the best angle, the best view that they've got, that is utterly impossible to call that as offside.
Right. So I'll get something that's maybe going to throw a wee bit of I get off. Listen, I'm just throwing bombs in the net. So I'll put Bowie's goal, offside goal, very dubious. Livy defender's position. This is the same ground that we had the dubious one against Aberdeen last year regarding the camera angles. Mm-hmm. And we had to put it down to a guess. Remember? Mm-hmm. Towards the end of last season. So is it Almondvale or whatever it's called now?
Tony Macaroni. I don't think it's called that now, but Tony Macaroni will always be known to me.
Is it not the Tony Macaroni anymore?
I don't think so.
Is it the City Grounds? Is that?
Is it Super Seal or something? It's something like that. I'll get exactly what it is.
I refereed that a couple of months ago for the Scotland v England seniors game, but this is the same ground that we had the altercation with Aberdeen last year, and the SFA came out and admitted that it was a guess. Yeah. So why has that not been rectified? Because you cannot have, as we've said, you cannot have games refereed and operating VAR differently from any other stadium. It's got to be a level playing field. I have no idea how they called that offside. No idea.
There's no conclusive evidence that is an offside, because we do not know the inside Livy player where his standing leg is.
So again, I was saying this is a guess.
Mm-hmm. It has to be, because it's utterly impossible to tell from that if that could be technically or otherwise, that could be offside, because you cannot see the legs of the two protagonists. You can't see it.
But what got me even more annoyed about this, and what led to me making the ruler comment, was I'm looking at the line going that way, and they're not in unison. So if they can't do that, how are they meant to decide a line where they can't see the guy's leg in the inside?
Yeah,
I mean, it's incredible. It's something out of a ridiculous comedy. It's like something out of Mitchell and Webb, where we've just got these guys in the VAR room who just don't really know how to operate simple straight lines, and they're in with the bricks, and they get every game. And I'm not going at David and John personally, but this is the sort of thing of this, in Willie's defence, can't be coached. You can't coach somebody to draw a straight line.
and that's why the people who are operating it, and I'm sure it's Hawkeye, we've got VAR Lite, diet VAR. We don't have the full package. So if you're going to do it,
but you're not going to get that without cameras. And again, that's where we need to work.
That's what I'm saying. So we're not doing the full package. We're not doing the full on.
But we don't have surely behind the goal can give you a clearer answer with that. Surely you can draw the lines behind the goal and work it out from there.
Only if there's a camera there.
Right. Why isn't there? We've said this. Well, we're talking about this the Forest United, Man United game. Now that's very different because that's behind the goal and there's a wee optical illusion thing. You don't. This isn't an optical illusion. His foot's either in front of the beloved defender or it isn't. You can draw the lines, and I'm not saying semi-automated offsides, but we aren't getting anywhere here. We're having the same conversations. I go back to the one when VAR was introduced. Remember Motherwell Celtic, where the camera's like at one corner and the decision's in the other corner?
Yeah. And this again will be another one that will be very interesting for Willie Vision, because no matter what anybody says, me, Des, I haven't got the faintest idea whether that was onside or off, because it's impossible, utterly impossible to tell you.
I'm convinced they're being told to make horrendous decisions just so the SFA gets some YouTube clicks. Because you can't tell me there's anything. You can't tell me it's... Look, what else is the reason? If it's purely accidental, why are these referees not under so much more scrutiny?
Got no idea. Do you know, it takes you back, and and we don't even need to mention the games or anything, but it's more in than out. You can't guess.
Same stadium, same two teams.
Yeah. You need to know, and you just can't tell from that one way or the other.
Jason.
Yeah, it's beyond belief, but I think I got a good 40 minutes therapy there. I enjoyed that. I got a lot of steam out, and can't think of two people to let steam out is good. But no, that was a pleasure, guys. Thoroughly enjoyed it as always.
You're in a safe place with friends. You're
okay. Yeah, but I can't thank you guys enough for joining me as always. First of all, with Des.
Yeah, you're very welcome. I thoroughly enjoyed that, guys, and hope the people enjoy it as well.
Brilliant. And to Steve, thank you very much. You'll be glad you've come back from Vladland to participate in this.
I'm glad I managed to manoeuvre myself past all his henchmen. But we're just good. Des and I have decided that your safe word from now on is VAR.
VAR. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just start shouting that and people. But no, thank you very much, guys. When it's tuned in, please.
In the middle of the night, you'll be waking up shouting.
Thank you very much, everyone that's tuned in. Follow us on social media. We've now hit 4,000 followers on X, so thanks to everyone that's checked us out. Thank you to our sponsors at Roxburgh Group for their continued support, and we will see you all very soon. Thank you very much.